There's a great difference in being a snitch and a responsible citizen. A snitch is a drug informant. A responsible citizen is someone who gives information that is well needed beyond what they could ever believe that it is needed for. That's your 30. Good afternoon. It is 13:2600 hours, which means it is 1:26 p.m. for you civilians. If today is your birthday, we honor and respect you for a blessed birthday and many more. If today is your anniversary, we honor and respect you for a blessed anniversary and many more. If you are mourning the loss of a loved one, we have our complete and sincere condolences. We honor and respect our civil service workers, those who are in the military, and our veterans. And before we go any further in this podcast, we want to give respect and honor to the one who has provided our background music and our theme music for 30 Seconds of Encouragement, Mr. Dalvin Walton Jr. We call him Debo. Thank you, Debo. Here in my city of Muskegon Heights, we yet again have an issue of where a person is missing. I believe this is the first time we've had someone missing. In other times, we've had issues and experiences where someone has been murdered. This time, a young man is missing. No one knows where he is. His name is Lee Longmire Jr. Now, this young man, after learning who he is the son of someone that I grew up in the same community with. I don't know all the full circumstances of what has went on in regards to this young man being missing, but what I know is what has been reported in the news is that his vehicle was found, burned, and him not in it. They have track marks from where the car that he was driving seemed to be doing some type of 360, and then there's another area about maybe 50 to 100 feet away from those skid marks of the vehicle that the vehicle was burned. And up on since then, that man has not been seen or heard from. Most would presume him to be dead, but that's not always the case. Just when a person is missing, they could be being held hostage somewhere against their will. You know, a lot of people, they can presume one thing and not understand the full totality of it. And unfortunately, from my just scrolling through social media, not looking for anything in particular, you can see posts of people just presuming him dead. And from my perspective of things, you know, there are a lot of people who are hoping for him to be dead, just to say that, yeah, that's Muskegon. That's how they do. You know, a lot of people are not wishing for a good resolve. They're not hoping for a good resolve. And that's very unfortunate, and that's very hurtful. It's very disrespectful. But of course, you would expect people to think or believe that way because it's not their family. A lot of people don't believe that hurt and harm could come towards their family. But I'm a living witness that you could be just as clean and clear cut as you want to be. Not perfect. Just not a person that's in the street or not a person that delves in trouble. But trouble can still come and find you. If I have shared in previous podcasts, you know, that my oldest son was taken away from us, and now it's been 10 years. And no, he wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't a street guy. But unfortunately, trouble found him. And my family suffered a loss. So my heart goes out to the Mitchell and Longmire family, and especially his mother, from one mother to another. I understand what it is like to be without your son, because at some point in my life, I was looking for my son. Didn't know where he was, but there were people who knew where he was, and they wouldn't share that with me. It wasn't shared with me until trouble came. Then that's when people contacted me. And for me, yeah, okay, I was glad that they contacted me, but you could have contacted me before, and it couldn't have gotten to this point. We could have alleviated this point if you had gotten in contact with me before. One thing that people do One thing that society does when it comes to something that doesn't directly affect them, they tend to withhold information. They tend to just look at it as another story, another side story. But even in that, they still try to find out the mechanics of a person's family or a person's history, forgetting the fact and negating the fact that every family goes through something. That's what family does. Family has its ups and downs. And whatever that family's ups and downs is no concern to yours. But if you have pertinent information for that family that you know will be helpful to that family, you should give it. And people don't think that way until it hits their family. Then they're seeking help. And then they wonder why folks aren't helping them when it's so easy just to give the information. Well, what were you doing when another family was in need? You weren't helping. And since that is the case that we have with Lee Longmire Jr., someone knows where he is. Not only do they know where he is, they know what happened with him from beginning until now, April 6, 2026. They know the plan that was put together. They know how the plan that was put together didn't go how it was expected or planned. They know how it went wrong, and they know the thing that was done to try to cover it up. And they're still not speaking. Now you ask me how I know. Because the Holy Spirit has led me so. He showed me just enough. Someone has that information. And now he's not only just giving me that insight, he's giving other people that insight. I'm the person that's using my platform to go further and to encourage other people. Don't be ashamed or afraid to share what God has shown you or given you, what insight he has given you, the insight enough that he has given you to share. There are times when God gives you insight on certain things that is not to be shared with everyone else. That is information just for you. But there are other people, just like me, where he has given insight, where he has given enough to share. God causes us all to dream, and he also gives us all visions. You don't have to be some special person for God to give you a vision or for him to allow you to dream, and he'll show you something in a dream. You don't have to be a special person for that. A lot of people have the misperception that you need to be a pastor, apostle, evangelist, missionary, prophet, something like that. No, you don't have to be any of that. Just be an average, regular, everyday person, of which those same people that are aforementioned are as well. They just have titles. God has no respect of person. He shows us all everything that we need to know. But one thing that he has touched my heart with and shown me was to pray for this family and was to speak to the person who has the information that needs to go to this man's mother, Lee Longmire Jr. He has touched my heart on her, and her name is Pamela Mitchell. And once I kept hearing her name, I was like, oh, I said, yeah, I'm supposed to speak on that. Not just pray for her. I'm supposed to speak on that because I've been where she's been. I've already walked this path that she's on. But my prayer for her, my hope for her, and my belief for her is that she's not coming completely down the path that I've walked. I have looked for my son. I have been in search for my son. Unfortunately for me and my family, we lost my son. He was taken away from us. So my hope and my belief for her is that she's not coming completely down my path, and that her son is still alive, and that the person who has the information that needs to give it to her gives it to her before her son's life is taken or before it's lost. For decades, for centuries, people have been kidnapped, held hostage, and them not knowing where they are or even who's taken them. They don't know the time of day, any of that. And they've been held for years and decades. How many times have you heard stories of people breaking loose from their captors after decades? People have been looking for them for years. Some have lost hope, and some have kept the hope that their loved one remained alive. There was a story that came out some years ago of a young lady in Ohio She broke free of her captor. A neighbor walking past the neighborhood, he noticed her at the door. Not exactly sure if she was trying to open the door, she was just in the yard, or she called to him for help. But a neighbor walking past, something was out of place. He called the police. And that young lady was a young lady who had been missing for 12 years from that city and only just some miles away, being held captive, being held a slave, had even given birth to a child. Her family had been looking for her, and there she was, only a few miles away, being held captive by some sick, perverted person. Now, who's to say that that's not happening with Lee Longmire Jr.? Not in perverseness, but just being held captive. See, everyone isn't a killer. Now, they have it in their heart, to harm someone and to take them hostage or captive, but they don't have it in them to be a killer. And Lee Longmire Jr., he could be in that situation where he's just being held. They have search parties being organized for him, have been organized for him. And most people have it in their mind that they are looking for a body. But what they should have it in their mind to do is that they are looking for evidence. What else could help the police? Because unfortunately, in the city that I live in, Muskegon Heights, which is Muskegon County, and we have a sister city called Muskegon, there is this snitch code that runs rapid, and it has a strong prevalence over people within the city. Is that you don't tell. You have information, you don't have anything to do with it, or even if you do have something to do with it, if you have information, you don't tell. And that has been something that has bogged our city down and has caused it to be run down more than what it was by other elements than ever before. We have a city full of people that have folks who have committed crimes and, yes, murder, who still walk the streets. I look at everybody as suspect. I have 2 nephews who were murdered, both here in Muskegon Heights, and no one has been arrested in regards to their murders. I don't know who is who. People walk past here, some speak to me, some just look at me. And for all those people, I look at them as my nephew's murderers, both of them, because I don't know. No one serving time. No one has given information to the prosecutor or the police that is helpful in regards to their murders. The police can only go by the leads that they have. And most oftentimes, those leads lead to dead ends. And that has been the case with Lee Longmire Jr. Just a bunch of leads that is leading to dead ends because the person or the people who have the information that they need aren't speaking. Either they're fully involved in it or have information of it and don't want to be labeled a snitch. For one, a snitch is a drug informant. That's what a snitch is. And this, with Lee Longmire Jr. missing, has nothing to do with drugs. Who knows what it has to lead to other than the people who were involved and the person who has information of what led up to it, the plot that led up to it, the planning that led up to it, the act that was taken out, and up to now, wherever Lee Longmire Jr. is. And even still, I implore that person, he needs to give his mother the information she needs so that she can be reunited with her son. You know the Lord has led you to give that woman the information she needs to relieve her of the stress and this pain, this discomfort, this unspeakable pain that she is going through right now. There's no disrespect upon the father or any other relative of Lee Longmire Jr. I know where my heart has led me, and it has led me towards this mother. I know what it feels like. You are to give her that information. But as of today, which is the 37th day, you still haven't done it. For all those people who have information regarding Lee Longmire Jr. and where he is and what has happened with him, and you haven't spoken on it, you're wrong for that, for not giving information. So many people can try to go into the mechanics of the family of why he is missing or why someone would even wish or bring harm upon him as to be why he is missing, to go so far as to burn his vehicle, to leave no evidence of where he is or even what happened to him. But just as I've been employing the person who has the information that needs to give it to Pamela Mitchell, I would say the same thing to everyone else. What if it was your family? What if you were looking for your relative? What if you didn't know what happened to your relative? All you're left with is the fallout of whatever happened. A burned vehicle. And I know some people probably say, well, whatever it is, whatever it happened, if someone took it that far to go into a struggle with him and burn his vehicle, he deserves what he got. But how do you know that he did something to deserve for a struggle to take place, for his vehicle to be burned? Do you have information that his mother and his family need to know about? Do you know the person who has the information that needs to give the information to Lee Longmire Jr.'s mother? Are you a person that could be an influence to the person who has the information and say, hey, you need to go speak to his mom. Give her the information. The people in our community, people have all the information. The streets talk is the term that we use. They don't tell the prosecutor, the police, the detectives what they need to know. The streets know. That's the code here in Muskegon. When I say Muskegon, that covers downtown and the Heights. That's the code here. The streets know. And you can go in conversation with anybody, a random person, and they'll just flip off a whole bunch of information. Like, you know all that information. Where did you get your information from? And where did they get their information from? Somewhere in there, all the information that people know is not just general information. It came from the person or the people who actually had something to do with the crime. And this is what we have here, is a crime. A man is missing. And there are a lot of people with their assumption, does he know something that happened with another crime? Because we have a lot of murders here that are unsolved. Some are now referred to cold case. There are a lot of people who say a lot of things in regards to Lee Longmire Jr. being missing. Things that are disrespectful and things that a lot of folks don't know that could be factual. We don't know. We just don't know. And for me, I'm a person who chooses not to get involved in any of that. I don't want to hear any facts. I don't want to hear any rumors. Only thing that I would like to know is that he's reunited with his family. Anything that caused him to become missing, that led up to him being missing, the plotting and the planning that led up to him being missing, I will leave that for his family. I don't want to know any of that information. I would just really like to know that he's reunited with his family, and then they can go from there. As a parent, as a mother, I know what it's like to be looking for your child. I know what it's like for people to look you in your face and say they haven't seen him and they just talked to him or had contact with him. I know what that's like. But what I don't want Pamela Mitchell to experience, what I've experienced, is to receive that phone call of her child being hurt. And my child, adult child, he didn't have to be hurt if someone had given me information beforehand. After my child was hurt, even after he passed, old people had information left and right, even giving me exact dates and time. And you know my question for all those people, why didn't you tell me this beforehand? You giving me all this information now. Why didn't you give me this information then? You knew myself and my family were searching for him. We were looking for him. Why didn't you give me that information now? I'll tell you why those people were giving me that information now. Well, then at that time, after the fact, guilty conscience. Their conscience was eating at them so bad. So yeah, they pouring out their heart now. They was too involved of the mechanics of the family beforehand, trying to know the family relationship and things that was going on in the family, things that didn't have anything to do with them. Because all families go through something. That's what family is, ups and downs. They're being so involved and so invested in something that had nothing to do with them, when all they had to do was just share information with me, and they didn't do it. So then after the fact, guilty conscience was eating him up. And one person in particular, his conscience ate him so bad that he took his own life. That's why I further implore this person who has the information that they have, that they know they need to give Pamela Mitchell, Lee Longmire Jr.'s mother. Go ahead and give it. Yeah, it's bad. We're on the 37th day. Yeah, you could have been giving her the information she needs. You could have been moved forward. His family could have been moved forward. They could have been reunited with him. But each and every day, you letting a day go by, you making it worse on yourself. You're making it worse on his family. If Lee Longmire Jr. is somewhere suffering and in need of his family, regardless of what information you have or what you know or what you feel like he deserves, they still don't have their family. It'd be the same thing if it were you. Your family will be looking for you, trying to help you, protect you. Same thing. I'm not saying Lee Longmire Jr. has done something wrong against someone and that he deserves what is happening to him. I'm not saying that at all. And I don't even want to know. What I know is a mother is without her child. He's an adult, but he's still her child. She's without him. A family is without him. They're looking for him. Any family, regardless of what is going on with the person, when they have someone missing, in trouble or duress, they want to help them because that's their family. I know it means nothing to you because he's not your family. I know what it's like to, being armed with somebody, to have an art against somebody. I know what it's like to be at the point where you don't care what goes on with that person or even what goes on with their family. I've been there. And who knows? I'll probably be there again. But I've also been on the other side where I'm looking for a relative or where I'm trying to help a relative that's in trouble, whether it was something they brought on themselves or not, because they're still my relative. They're still my blood. They're still my family. So that person who has this information that Pamela Mitchell needs, that she needs in regards to her son, Lee Longmire Jr., just give it to her. Just give it to her. However you're supposed to give it to her. I have many scenarios and ways that you can give it to her. Burn the phone, fake account, whatever. But I know the Lord has led you to already speak to her in whatever manner that he's led you to speak to her, but you still haven't gone. You're thinking too much. You're thinking past the information that he's already given you. The information that he's giving you and the way he's giving you to do it, that's the way you're supposed to do it. That's your grace of doing it. You're under grace to do that. You're under protection to do that. But you haven't done it yet. So you're allowing grace to run out on you. You're allowing time to run out on you. And then you're going to pick a time to do it of yourself. And it's going to be detrimental. One thing I could tell you is that when God leads us to do certain things, that first thought that he gives is the way it's supposed to be done. And we tend to fight against it. We tend to doubt what we just heard. Like, what was that? Or we just let it run over our head. It's just another thought. No, that was him. So a lot of people think you need to be a believer, a Christian, a Muslim, a Lutheran, Catholic. You figure you need to be under some denomination to hear from God. You don't. You don't need to be anything. You're already whom you are and what you are. Thank you, Lord. To hear from him. He speaks to everyone. He speaks to all of us. And it's always that soft voice, that thought that you just let roll over your head. It's the first thought. It's the first voice that you hear. A lot of people think that God talks in this loud, dramatic voice. If he needs to talk in a loud, dramatic voice, you on the tip of some bad stuff. But when God speaks, he speaks just as soft and quiet and gentle. He's a loving God. He's a patient God. He's not this big boogeyman that people deem him to be, that some people deem him to be. That's not who he is. He talks just as soft and sweet and kind and patient. It's so loving. That's how he talks. And a lot of times, the majority of us, we take it for granted because he's talking that soft, sweet, and gentle and kind. But that's who he is. He's soft, sweet, gentle, and kind. That's how he talks to us. Hey, you need to go speak to that mother. You need to go speak to Pamela Mitchell. You need to give her the information that you have. Go tell her now. Call her. Go to her. Go to her job. However he's talking to you. There's been many times God has talked to me so soft and sweet. And I've ignored it. And then he gave me something else to remind me of what he previously told me. It's like, oh, you need to see about that. You need to take care of that. Or he's even caused me to dream. Or he's given me a vision. I am not the only person in this world that he has done that with. He does that with all of us. And there are times when we share that information and people look at us as if we're crazy, excuse me. And we're not crazy. Those people have also experienced it. But they've written it off as them being crazy because they may have certain habits of smoking or drinking or other recreational practices that they do. And they figure that has altered their way of thinking. No, God can talk through any alcohol or any substance that is out here or that man can create. He is that great. He is that powerful. He is that great. And so for the person who has this information for Pamela Mitchell, I'm so hopeful that you're not allowing your grace to run out on you. Because just as he is allowing you to dream, just as he is allowing you to hear his voice, just as he is showing you visions, he is doing the same for the Mitchell and the Longmire family. And you don't know how that will turn out once that grace is offered you. Grace is only extended for a period of time. It has an expiration date. So I implore you, I encourage you to go and speak to her before you're forced to. But you're going to speak. You're going to speak. But I implore you and encourage you to go to her before you're forced to. No one knows what that will look like. Can't even imagine it. We could try to imagine, but it still won't be in the way that God will have it to be done. And for all the people in the city of Muskegon Heights and Muskegon, for all of you who hold that snitch code into a factor of not giving information to people and families who need it, you need to turn that loose. The more you do that, the more you bring discord, disarray, and dishonor, and catastrophe, and chaos among these two twin cities. Being quiet, being loyal, sticking with your boy, sticking with your girl, not giving up no information. More murders will come. More lives will be taken. Unless you're a participant in it and you don't want to suffer consequences from it, yeah, I can understand you being quiet. You holding that information till your grave. Yeah, I understand all of that. Well, what you don't understand is that it could come upon your family. And you don't have to be a family that's in the street or known for discord or keeping up fights and that type of thing. You can be squeaky clean. Now, my family, we want squeaky clean. I mean, we ain't no perfect family. We didn't cause trouble, but unfortunately, trouble found us. And I have 2 nephews who their murders still are unsolved and about to be turned to cold cases because it's I believe the last one we're about at 10 years. So please know the difference between a snitch and a responsible citizen. And for that person who have that information that needs to go to Family Mitchell, I encourage you and I implore you, please give her the information that she needs. Y'all be blessed.